Finally, Kwame has joined us here. Kwame Dazi with City Newsroom. Kwame,
Yes, boss.
how are you doing?
Shall I'm good, or how about you?
I'm great. You've been on this space since it began. What do you want to say so far before I move to my questions?
I think so far I've listened to all the speakers and you've done fantastic. I've listened to Randy, I've listened to Della, NYB, Paul, Randy, Echo, and everybody on this space. I think that we've done justice to the topic and the discussion. I believe that this whole issue about journalism in projecting African music, it's very broad, and it appears we've focused so much on writing, which I belong to. Yes, I started with writing, but I think there are other facets to the whole thing, where we talk about radio discussion programs, TV discussion programs, and most times these are programs that are um, mainly premised on things on social media. For example, somebody says something on social media, and then the blog picks the thing, does a story out of it. The next moment, you tune it to a radio discussion program, and that's the biggest topic for discussion. You tune it to a prime time entertainment radio analysis program, and things being discussed are not things that are factual. The producers are not ready to even dig deeper into the issue and the discussion to find out if what's being discussed is really the fact or the matter at hand. But I think that it's a very dicey situation in these times. Also because just as Dela and other people said, people are looking for traffic. One, they are looking for ears, they are looking for eyeballs, and so anything that will make people tune in or just rush to the website to listen to read what's going on is what they're going to do. And I think that is what is affecting us. Now it's dicey because people have to survive. People need to run their businesses. People need the traffic to get people to watch their YouTube videos and everything. So if you are somebody like Hansen who would ordinarily want to go clean, do all the right stuff, no sensationalism. Even some of us have decided to do a hybrid form of reporting nowadays because yes, you are doing the right thing. You are writing a music review on, let's say, Rocky Dawuni's album. You are doing a review about Chama Kwame's album, and then after wasting so much time doing the research, speaking to the artist, publishing the story, you go onto the website and then you see clicks, you become disappointed because at the end of the day, what are you looking at? You are looking at people visiting your site to read the story, not just only using the story or the article as an archive or as a historical document, but also making something out of it. If you do the story, nobody reads, then it means nobody's seen what you've done. And so that is something that would discourage people from maybe wasting, quote unquote, their time to write timeless stories. But I agree. That is why I have said that from the outset, when I started writing Flex newspaper in 2009, I decided to stick to the rules because I was taught the rules. Do this, do that, don't do this, don't do that. But it got to a time I realized that if you are too strict, if you are too critical, if you are too careful and you want to do everything right, they think this guy is too boring. This guy is too chichine. Why don't you become a bit flexible? If you try to be flexible, soft, loose, they say, wait, Jimmy, and that is why most people think that people in the people in the entertainment industry are not intelligent because if you don't try to be exciting, they think you are not intelligent. If you try to be more intelligent, they say you are boring. So it's difficult trying to strike a balance and be in the middle and try to be a bit exciting, a bit intelligent. Very difficult. But I've tried very hard to stay in the middle. There are times that I decide to go very technical if I'm analyzing somebody's music, because of the little music background that I have. I try to go into that area. So somebody who also shares, who also has the same or even higher knowledge in that area will feel okay. This guy knows what he's talking about. I try to do that, but there are times that you need to let the people out there. A lot of the people read. You have managers who are supervising your work. They want to see how many stories you do in a day and how many stories are bringing traffic to the website. And so, are you going to say that, okay, as for me, I'm very clean, and so they say Kapim Polo has done this, so I will not write about it. No, there's a difference between writing what is false and writing about what is negative. If it is negative and it is true, why not put it out there? If it is negative and it is false, sometimes you can do a story just to set an agenda. And I think that is one thing that we also lack in this industry, as a people, as journalists, writers, radio presenters, TV presenters, producers. What we have not really tackled over the years is also setting agenda. And I sometimes I put stuff on social media and people think, oh, agenda man was started. The thing is, you cannot have impact or change society without setting agenda. And it's very important that if the very few ones that we have that are doing quote unquote the right things would set agenda and say, okay, even though we have the other people dominating the space, we can also use very powerful tools that we have and platforms to champion certain causes. I think we'll get further than this. Now, we've seen so many things happening in the industry recently, the Afrobeats thing. And until recently, I don't even think some people even knew, some journalists in this space even knew that there was a difference between the Afrobeat and the one with the S. And that has been a very, very big topic. And I don't even know how many people have read that book by Professor John Collins on high life music. And so it boils down to the fact that we have people in the industry, most of who are not really interested in championing certain causes. They are in to make a living, just to make a living and then go away. And that is why they will put anything at all on their platforms without caring or without worrying about the implication, the impact. I heard the earlier argument about bloggers and journalism. I think we are sometimes so much enthused about naming, or how do we call this person, how do we call that person, than what does this person do. I think that is the most important thing, because if I am going to call myself a journalist, and then I pick any story at all, I pick a tweet from a celebrity, and then I post the tweet without really doing all the checks, the checking, the double checking, the cross checking, and I just put it out there is no difference between me and somebody who is doing mere blogging. And so there are so many quote unquote trained journalists who behave like bloggers, because ordinarily we know bloggers are not obliged to abide by all the rules of all the tenets of journalism. So they may just pick anything and go away with it. But you, as a journalist, should make sure that there are certain parameters that you should follow, things that you should make sure that you go by, so that every publication that you do or every report that you actually produce is very authentic. But most of us now are rather feeding off what the bloggers are putting out there. So at the end of the day, the journalist is behaving like a blogger. So I can even say that you can be a journalist, but you can be doing blogging through journalism. And there are some bloggers who are doing very clean job. Somebody like Kobiche, for example, is not a journalist. He doesn't even call himself a journalist, but I've seen his works and I've seen how dedicated he is in making sure that he puts out the right stuff, the right information, cross-checking information before putting them out. And so it's very instructive to note that if we are going to do this as a people, then we should be concerned about who is doing the right thing and who is called a journalist or a blogger. If what you're doing does not contravene any of the laws, the media laws, if you are not tarnishing anybody's image, if you are reporting what is the truth, what is the fact, then I don't see why you should be bothered about calling yourself a journalist or a blogger. I respect bloggers. I know some of them are doing so well. They have their space, they have their audience. There are times that even people who have high degrees in journalism will just visit the blogs and then have some good laugh. And so I think that even though we have a place for every one of them, tabloid journalism, a bit of sensationalism, and then the other side. I think what we need to do is to have a balance of everything, but not to try to demonize some people and try to canonize some people just because we think these are the right people, these are not the right people. If you were a blogger and you pick your camera and go spot very important things to talk about, I don't care about what you are called. I care about what you are highlighting, what you are focusing on, than what you are called. And so I'm happy about this discussion and how we are going to project African music out there. I think what we need to do, as I said earlier, I wanted to set agenda. If we are talking about projecting our music out there, is it only about the music that has come out, or also about the lifestyles of the artists? I, throughout my career as a journalist from 2009, I've had countless threats from artist managers, artists, because I wrote this article or that article. Why? Because most of these people in the industry think that you don't need to criticize them. All you need to do is to praise them. But I don't do that. You, even if you give me money to write a story about you, to do a review about your song, I will still do it objectively, how I feel. I don't do that to please you because you paid money to me. If I need to give you 70% rating, I'll just give you 70% rating, even though you gave me money. So I think that we need to be firm. We need to be very firm in what we do
Mm.
in projecting the music outside. An artist is angry because you criticize them. The next moment when you praise them, they are happy. They are human beings. Obviously, anybody who is being criticized wouldn't be happy with the criticism because Charlie, but the fact is that you, as the journalist, should know why you were doing what you were doing. We cannot always be praising everybody in the industry. We cannot always be criticizing as well. So I have a policy that if the person does the right thing, say it, write about it. If the person does the wrong thing, write about it. If we keep on doing this, also directing them, giving them examples of other people from other sides of the world who have done this and progressed, I think they would learn things from that, and then the music industry will also move forward.
Wow. Great submission there from Kwame Dazi with City Newsroom, the entertainment space with City Newsroom. So, guys, it's been an amazing conversation, but I would want us to wrap up real quick in less than 3 minutes. And so we will look at the solutions going forward, what we're supposed to do to make sure that we are telling the story of Africa, to make sure that the world knows that Africa is coming up with not just Afrobeat, but varieties of music, variety of artists, because we have more than just Afrobeat artists. We have hip hop artists, alternative artists, R&B artists, gospel artists, which that's an industry that to me personally, feel they've not had much of, the talk, but all the same. So I'll start with you, Randy. I'll move to Della, then Kwame will finish. Randy, moving forward, what can we do to make sure that the industry is being projected rightly across the world?
All right, right, Derek. I think I repeat my point. I sound like a broken record at this point, but I think I repeat my point again of saying we need a certain level of strong headedness as an industry moving forward because you can't change things if you're not again bold and daring enough to hold everything by their balls and say you are actually going to get them changed and changing them till the last end. A typical example I read some years ago was Adolf Hitler when he invested in German cinema and media. When at the time in Germany there was like civil war, not just civil war, but media wars, like everybody going at everybody because of politics and everything. It's because he, where he sat as the president, understood the potency of something like film in changing how people thought of Germany, how people saw their people, how people, interfaced with Germans in terms of trade, in terms of investment, in terms of everything. Would you say he so to say didn't know what he was doing at the time? So again, we as a people, I get the point of being, business people chasing the money, chasing the numbers. It's why we do business. I mean, come on, I'd be very unfair if I say, oh, at some point you need to shun all those things and focus on, changing things. It goes hand in hand. You need money to be able to push some of these things. As a matter of fact, if you're not comfortable enough in your positioning as a media company, I don't think you'd get enough balls to say you'd want to, project a particular agenda or a particular story or a particular stance in the media landscape. If you don't have that power, you almost can't afford to do some of those things. The reason, again, I'll use Complex as a case point is I think at this point they're the most successful and most influential youth media brand like in the world now. The reason they're able to do some of the things they're able to do is over time they've mastered courage in being not just daring, but commercializing that part of predicting what the future becomes. So today, if you typically, an example again is the Spotify Dissect show, where they talk about, they break down albums, and all the other podcasts on Spotify and things where they predict what the future of music is, the future of consumption, the future of listening, and everything is. Like, if you are not in a position financially, you wouldn't be able to accommodate or entertain the luxury or the idea of doing some of those things. So again, yes, I think we as a people, bro, like we need to come together to make sure we want to shift things for our own good and not for our own personal interests. Because media owns and wields still that power.
Okay.
Traditional media, digital media, it still owns the power of shaping what we think as a society. Because today, what we are as people in Ghana is because of what we probably read, what we probably heard on radio, what we probably saw on TV, or what somebody is telling us. You understand? And that's just passing on information. And that's the basis of journalism. So if we are not strong-headed enough to keep and gatekeep some of those things, I think we'll be doing ourselves so much disservice than making money and then leaving everything to rot.
Okay. All right. Looks like there was a lot of balls in your submission. Hopefully, it's the FIFA World Cup ball. But anyways, uh, Della, let me come
Yeah.
back to you. Moving forward, what can we do?
So
I mean, we saw, the conversation about bloggers coming into the space. We saw a lot of, bad headlines leading the stories. All these things are being watched by the rest of the world. And, not to say that the rest of the world doesn't have these things, but we're trying to project Africa out there. So moving forward, what can we do, to change all this and make sure that we are projecting African music widely to the world?
So you see where we find ourselves right now. I mean, media outfits can't say that it's competition now. They all want eyeballs, they want clicks, they want to get the numbers because the numbers is what translates into money. So if you work with a media outfit, such a media outfit, you should be able to be on the fence and or have a fine blend where you can still do the controversial stories and still do the real stories. The real stories being the critical ones that are research based, industry related, and all that, and still do the controversial stories. Because you can't say you want to do only controversial stories and leave that side too. And you can't say you want to do that side, the critical ones, and leave the controversial. Trust me, if you work with a media outfit right now, you want to do what we call the proper ones, the research ones that will not get you clicks, you lose your job. You will lose your job. They will rather bring somebody who will get them the numbers because it's all about numbers. So journalists should be able to just rise to the occasion and be able to, I mean, adapt whenever a story comes up or whatever in their line of work. If it's controversial, you should be able to do and do it well. If it's technical and the critical ones, you should spend time and be able to do that. That is the only way we get to push the industry. Unfortunately, where we find ourselves right now, you can't go and tell the bloggers and those who are all chasing the clicks to change their style to come and do that. Some of them will not be able. They won't be able to even do it. Some of the critical topics and issues about the industry. If you ask them, they have no idea. They won't be able to tell anything about that. But ask them about some actress and a beef the actress or a musician, a beef the musician had with somebody. They'll be able to tell you in a split second because those are trending stuff. That's what people want to hear. That's what people want to read. So journalists should be able to, one, be able to do the controversial stories. Two, find time or make time to do the technical ones. So it should be a fine blend.
Okay. Hopefully, we will get a fine blend as well. Kwame, moving forward, what are you looking forward to?
Moving forward, I'm looking forward to we entertainment or music journalists doing more than just being in the office and writing stories, speaking tweets, speaking people's voices, and writing stories out of them. You made an earlier submission, or somebody said something about we not getting information on artists, and I think if you go on the internet and you type, let's say, Ejako Nimo, you type, let's say, Kakeku, and you don't get any literature on them, what do? Why don't you set out to interview people? I think what we've not done as a people is also going out there to get the first-hand information. And so we are not writing enough. We're not interviewing people. How many of us have interviewed Jack Onimo? How many of us would go to the extent of going out there to find out something about, let's say, Nana Ampedu passed away, or Boba J.A. Adolfo. We don't interview the families, the close people, close relatives of these people. All we do is let's go to the office. We are on our phones picking out random stories and then publishing them. That's okay, as we said earlier on. But we can do more. We don't need to rely on what other people have written in the past. What are we also writing? What are we also researching on? What documentaries are we also producing? So we can go out there and do more. And then apart from that, yeah, nowadays, okay, so if you want somebody to do business with as an entertainment media, the likelihood that the corporate institution or the company goes to the bloggers we're talking about is very high because they have the numbers. And so you as NYB or you as Hansing, you are doing what people claim or what we all say is the right thing. Nobody is coming to you because you don't have the numbers. They want them to fly them to this country, to that country. They are doing that because of the numbers that they have. Because people go to their IG pages, they go to their Twitter handles and everything to see what they are doing. And so, if we also want to be in that league, I think we can. There is a way of being critical, analytical, doing the right thing, and also generating excitement. I think that is the code we should crack as a people, so that in as much as we are being very analytical and critical and doing the right things, we're also generating some excitement among the people or among the audience who follow us and read from us. And so let's do well to just develop that strategy and see how that plays out.
Amazing. It's like the